Okay, class, picking up where we left off. Fractions with the same denominator are called like fractions. Fractions with different denominators are called unlike fractions. Adding like fractions. To add like fractions, add the numerators and write the sum over the common denominator. For example, here, if you notice we have the same denominator, you will add the numerators and keep the denominator the same. Now, there's one other thing that you have to do. After you add them together, if you could simplify, you must simplify if possible. So let's take a look here. We have the same denominator, so we carry over our 9, and then we add our numerators. Now 5 plus 2 is 7 over 9, and they have nothing in common, so that's your final answer. Now number 2, we carry over our 8. 5 plus 1 we know is 6. But 6 and 8, they both have some factors in common. So we'll do the prime factorization. 6 is 2 times 3. And 8, we know factors out to be 3 2's. So these 2's simplify out. And your final answer is 3/4. Now we scroll down to 3. Now we have the same denominator, which is 11. And now we add the numerators. We have 10 plus 1 plus 7, which will give us 18 over 11. And since we're not dealing with mixed numbers here, and we're not asked to make it into a mixed number, we'll just leave it as 18 over 11. Now, one thing about number 4 that I like is you see that it's plus 0. We know anything plus 0 is basically the numbers itself. So we could disregard this plus 0. Now we look here, our denominators is 11. Now we can add our numerators. 10 plus 1 is 11. 11 over 11 is 1. So that is our final answer here. Now it says here, you can only add or subtract fractions if they have like denominators. Now that is true. Now we come to subtraction. Subtraction has the same rules as addition, except for you will subtract the numerators instead of add them. So let's take a look at number 1. We have the same denominator, so we carry over our 9, and we would take 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, and that's over 9. Now we could do the prime factorization. 3 is already prime. 9 breaks down to 3 times 3. These 3's simplify out, and you're left with 1 over 3. Now we go here to number 2. Our common denominator here is 8. We subtract our numerators. 5 minus 1 will give us 4. 4 over 8, we could take the prime factorization of 4, which is 2 and 2. Prime factorization of 8 is 3 2's. These 2's will simplify out, and it will leave you 1/2. Now, we scroll here to number 3, and we still do the same thing. Our denominator would be 11, and we will subtract our numerator. 10 minus 1 minus 7. 10 minus 1 is 9, minus 7 is 2. So it would be 2 over 11. Now we come here to number 4. We know anything minus 0 would just be the number itself. So we look here at our denominators. Denominator would be 11, and we will add 10 minus 1, which will give us 9 over 11. And we know they have nothing else in common. So now we scroll down here to section C. It says solve problems by adding or subtracting fractions. Now it says here, examples set C, solve, find the perimeter of the square. Now we know a square means that all 4 sides are equal. So all 4 of these sides are 3 over 20. So the perimeter of a square is 4 times whatever the side is. So we could put P is equal to 4 times 3 over 20, which will give us 4 over 1, which will give us 2 times 2 times 3. All over 20 breaks down to 2 times 2 times 5. These 2 simplify out, and we're left with 3/5 of a mile. Now that's one way of doing it, using a formula. Now we could do it another way. We could use addition. Remember, perimeter just means adding all the sides. So you could take 3 over 20 plus 3 over 20 plus 3 over 20 plus 3 over 20. Now our denominator would be 20. Now we add all of our numerators. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Now we could take the prime factorization of 12, which would be 2 times 2 times 3. And the prime factorization of 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. These two simplify out, and it's still 3/5 miles. Now, you can use either method, either the formula for perimeter or just add all of the sides. Now, the reason why I wrote this problem out where it went into number 2 is we're going to skip number 2 because this would have required us to add fractions with different denominators, and we're not doing that just yet. So now we go here to number 3. It says a jogger ran 13/14 of a mile on Monday and 7/14 miles on Wednesday. How much further did he run on Monday than Wednesday? Now we're asking how much further. We know that's subtraction. So it'd be 13/14 minus 7/14. We carry over our 14. 13 minus 7 gives us 6. Now we take the prime factorization of the numerator, which is 2 times 3. Prime factorization of the denominator, which is 2 times 7. These two simplify out, and you will be left with 3/7 miles. Now there's one other thing we need to do. This was the last problem from this section. However, I need to give you this other problem here. What if we had, and this is a separate problem, I can make this number 4. What if we had 13 over 14 minus 13 over 14? Now, what I want you to realize is this here. You do not have to carry over this denominator. Remember, whenever you have any number minus itself, that answer is 0. It's not 0 over 14, it's just 0. A number minus itself is 0. And we're done.